Hello, good day to all of you. This is another OS operating system. Today we're going to take a look into the operating system called Ubuntu Studio. It's version 23.04. So right now I'm into the website, and this is the first thing that I've been looking into because I was in the actual homepage, that is ubuntustudio.org. This distro celebrated over 15 years of existence, creativity since 2007, and of course it has two versions right here, the long-term support and the version 23.04. I was actually thinking that every 0.04 is the LTS, but this year they created 0.4 as non-long-term support. And I was actually saying this especially when I have the review of the Ubuntu 23.04, which is, I thought all while it was already the long-term support or LTS, but as of now I see it clearly right now that is not the case. It is just the Lunar Lobster, which is supported until January 2024. That's gonna be next year. And I was surprised actually. Supposed to be every 0.10 are the short term or the developers, which is right now changing. What happened to Ubuntu right now? So anyway, I'm hoping there will be a long-term support next time, and I'm hoping for that this coming 2024, which is version 24.04. But there is already some information about 23.10 on the works already. Ubuntu Studio is an operating system for the creative individual in an area of audio production, video production, graphics designing, and photographic and desktop publishing. Last April, I was surprised actually when this came into the Ubuntu Studio, which is I heard it and I installed it, but never had the time to explore this operating system. So right now I'll be taking into this operating system to take a first look as a creative video production and graphic designer. But at the same time, I saw this at the latest news, which is in May 10th, we need your help. Sometimes this a little bit like needs a financial boost to have this distro to kick their productivity and to be a top notch on the OS for this distro. So we gonna take a look into this one as the, of course, the Ubuntu Studio 23.04 as we gonna take a look. But at the same time we have to take this into, which is the studio needs help. They are asking for your help. This maybe sounds like some layoffs already, so we need to have a regular job to keep this alive. It is not our fault because we have the pandemic at the same time, and this people needs your support. Without this software developers helping the Ubuntu Studio, all of our OS in Linux, most of them are running in their own pockets, and they're only voluntarily submitting their project to keep the OS free and open source. Just like me, I'm voluntarily giving you your first look into this OS operating system in Linux. I don't have any financial support with this video. This is coming on my own, and at the same time This will help others to see the beauty of the operating system. Not only that, but also rendering my skills as checking all this software if there's some bugs in the source code, and at the same time it is purely voluntarily, because I believe that this operating system, Linux, is open source and should be free, and to be free as in freedom. So anyway, let's support this operating system, including not only for the Ubuntu Studio but also Ubuntu, because the leading project leader, the Ubuntu Studio, his wife is also a volunteer leader of the Ubuntu project. Like our movies, if we do not have the Linux community, the very popular Hollywood movie to be edited for this free and open source operating system and free and open source software, like the Titanic, it is edited heavily with Linux. Open source operating system has played a key role in turning many director dreams into a silver screen success. Even Scooby-Doo the movie, graphics and editing is all done with our Linux. Even Spirit Stallion of the Cameroon, created through Linux software and operating system. Shrek the Third was actually made from Linux. The CGI and the operating system are all Linux. Even the Avatar movie was created from the Linux operating system and software. That's all free and open source. So that is why it is important to help our community. Even you are not a user, you are depending on the developers. Even Microsoft is depending on these developers. So please help them. So let's take a look into our operating system as I open my virtual box right here and inserted the ISO file of the Ubuntu Studio 23.04. So let's start our computer. I gave this actually a 8 gigabytes of random access memory and at the same time 130 megabytes of video memory. The virtual hard disk that I gave is around 50. So we are now entering the Ubuntu Studio 23.04. This is the actual USB ISO file. If you put this bootable USB, it will be first thing to boot to your laptop or to your desktop, and this will be your first thing you will see as it boot into the USB. So we are now in our Lunar Lobster Ubuntu Studio 23.04. By the way, I haven't shown you the download page of the Ubuntu Studio. Let's go to the download page. So you have the option 3 years support until April of 2025 for the Ubuntu Studio 22.04, while the Ubuntu Studio 23.04 will be only 9 months support until January 2024. It has the torrent and the direct download. So the torrent, you'll be using the torrent, of course, if you have the QTorrent or the BitTorrent or the any torrent software that you have, it will download through different types of mirrors all over the world if it is available until it reaches the 100% complete. While the direct download, it will download for one specific server and it will be downloaded as a ISO file. So the requirements for this operating system, basically it is the KDE Plasma desktop environment will be installed for this Ubuntu Studio 23.04. The requirements for this operating system is a dual core with at least 4 or 8 gigabytes of random access memory, while the drive at least 2 gigabytes, or of course 64 gigabytes or higher for your audio and video editing, including your pictures. And of course, you should have a disk space more than 16 gigabytes or higher. So you can try this as a live disk. Just put into the bootable USB stick Balena Etcher or the Rufus. But for me, I preferred Balena Etcher. Or of course, you can use the universal USB installer. So by the way, if you are planning for dual booting, make sure that you know what you're doing. Last time I have the operating system featuring how to install into dual boot into your existing Windows operating system. It's either Windows 7, Windows 10, or Windows 11, or so on. So they have the information right here. Just click right here for more information. Just go to the website help.https://help.ubuntu.com/community/dual-boot. So as you can see, there's a lot of information right here for introduction, back up your data, recovery CD for your existing operating system, some cases like general cases, Windows, Mac, or Zen servers. So they have all the information you need for your dual booting. So let's go to download page. Of course, this is the download page, and just click. So let's now try to look into this. If you right click your mouse, you have this configuration of your desktop and wallpaper. Below it, you have the display settings. Let's try to see the desktop and the wallpaper first. So materia wallpaper, we have the dark materia, the mountain. You have the options if it is dark mode or the light mode, but I think it is the Ubuntu Studio has a default for the dark mode, especially for the creative editors. They prefer the dark because it gave us a eye strain if we use the light mode, which is very not pleasant to our eyes. So we also have the old one, wallpaper for the 22.04, while it has no lunar lobster, and this one has the lunar lobster. To get new wallpaper, just go to in that particular area, get new wallpaper, and it will load for you. You don't need to go to a sketchy website just to get your screensaver or your desktop wallpaper. I remember that there is a question if Linux is prone or can be infected with the screensaver or the .scr file virus. Well, sorry guys, but Linux cannot be infected with that .scr virus. So as you can see, we have a lot of wallpaper download. For example, I want to have the Ubuntu. We will try to see what kind of Ubuntu wallpaper are we presented with. We have the simple Ubuntu. Yes, I remember this. This is way back then. Yesteryears. Let's try to look for more like Linux. How about this one? I really like the Linux loading. Let's click this one and apply. Wow, I really like this one. So let's close this one and go to the configuration of the display settings, because I think the ratio of this particular display is not the right resolution. We have the 1280 by 800, which is a little bit odd. So let's go to the right, the 1080, and click apply. Let's keep that as our display and monitor configuration. So right now let's go to the about this system. So as you can see, it is in my virtual box. I'm using only one processor. Wow, only one processor with the 11th generation of i5 and with 2.40 gigabytes with, of course, 7.7, or which I say just 8 gigabytes of random access memory, and it is running with KDE Plasma version 5.27.4, and the graphics platform is Xorg 11. The frameworks version 5.104.0, and Qt version is 5.15.8. So at the same time, the kernel, the Linux kernel, is actually at 6.2 with low latency. Cool. How about the general appearance? As I said, it was as default for the Ubuntu Studio. It is set into dark, but of course, if it is light, as you can see, it is actually reflecting into my eyeglasses. So that is why we have eye strain if we are using light mode for the editing. So let's go to the dark mode. It is much pleasant to the eyes. That's much better, right? It is not glaring into my eyeglasses. How about if we install it into our virtual box or into your computer? Let's try to click this one. So double click the install Ubuntu Studio 23.04. Of course, you have to change your language if you are a English, Filipino, Indonesian, Malaysian, Singaporean, Dutch will, or just American English. Of course, I'll be setting this into English, so I'll be going to English up there. US, alright, let's click that one. So I'm here in Thailand, which is not in Bangkok, but it's okay. I will be changing this location, but it is in the zone of Bangkok for my time zone and region, Asia. And of course, I prefer USA. But if you have like other English, like for example, we have Filipino English, we can use that one. Let's try, because I'm a Filipino. And you have the options to, alongside with the existing operating system, with replacing the partition with Ubuntu, or erased all the configuration. So I probably use the erasing all of this disk into the Ubuntu Studio 23.04. Let's click this one, and of course let's enter your name for your computer. I always put my computer name as RealB. So I'll just put my computer name as the RealB VirtualBox, and of course I'll enter my super secret password, which is very easy. No, it's very hard. Log in automatically without asking. No, I'll uncheck that one because it is security breach if I'll use that one. So we have the preview, the location, the time zone, the language, and the location date set, the keyboard, partition, current partition, and the after partition. We have the MS-DOS partition, and the SDA for the virtual box. Extension 4 is our file system, And of course, we also included the Linux swap or the virtual memory and the virtual disk. So it is installed into the bootloader, which is located at dev/sda. So let's click install. Yes, I'm installing it right now. So let's wait until we have complete this installation with our new installed Ubuntu Studio 23.04. 7%. Let's wait. So anyway, it's all done, and let's try to restart our Ubuntu Studio newly installed in our virtual box. So let's click done, and it will automatically install. So we are now greeted with our Plasma X11 desktop, and we need to log in to our user account and our password. So let's click that one, and now we are now into our desktop, and it has a update available. So let's try to update this one, as we are now into our desktop mode, and it is now in our newly installed. So let's just click this one, update. It has no need to go to your terminal just to update, but it is also very good to, if you know how to use the terminal for your update. So let's go back to our wallpaper, because we are now into our newly installed. So we need to go and look for our specified wallpaper. Of course, enter your secret super password to gain access to your download. As you can see at the background, they ask the password. Don't forget a one, because you need to enter your password each time you are installing, so that you are permitting to download this application. Unlike with Windows, you don't need to click the password or the code, so you are prone for malicious software installation. So that is why it is secure, and at the same time the kernel of Windows is hybrid, which means it has bypassed some of your security. Unlike with our Linux, we are monolithic kernel. So if you cannot pass through this level because you have a security, so the virus cannot install anything, and it will not do anything to harm your computer, except if you allow it. So let's try to refresh if there is some more updates. No, it's up to date. So let's close this one. So I'm looking for my favorite Linux wallpaper. Let's download that one. I really like that one. It is pleasant to the eyes. It is not hurting my eyes, actually. I like that one too. So let's go to the HD, not too shabby. I want the down. Oh, there it is. Let's use that one. Click used. Ah, there it is. So I want to change this one, because this is actually the Ubuntu Studio. Let's try to change the into dark mode. Let's open our GIMP. So this is the first time we opened GIMP, and a little bit like sluggish, but it's okay because this is the first time. Let's drag this one to open. Whoa, it's too big. So let's try to minimize a little bit. zoom out. Zoom out. Alright, there it is. So let's try to have a new layer. Yeah, so we have a new layer now, and I want to spill with a background color. So we are now trying to look for some color. So instead of super dark, we will just gonna give a little bit darker, which splash that one. Okay, that one. Too much? Okay. How about this one? Let's try to a little bit like transform it. Let me see if I could like look for some stock filter right here. How about artistics? Do we have some are like too much, right? How about that one? Right, it's kind of cool, right? So you can always change, and especially this type of graphics that you are trying to. These are the different types of software that we could use. It is free and open source, so you don't need to buy a lot of stuff like worth 3,000 baht or 5,000 pesos or Philippine peso. So I don't want to change that one. So it's just for example. Okay. So okay, let's close that one. So let's try to see what kind of application that we are seeing right here. We have the Firefox web browser. What's this? So this is one of your editing tool. This one is for your audio editing tool, which is your audio workstation. We also have the streaming and recording of the OBS for your streaming, and at the same time for your screen recording. Krita is for digital painting. If you are inclined into creating some beautiful and creative drawings, you can use Krita. Of course, GIMP, the GNU image manipulator program. Of course, the Caden Live, which is the video editor. We also have the Digicam for the photo management program. We also have the Darktable for the visual light table and dark room. And we also have the system settings. So let's try to see what are the software right here. We all have the all application, but at the same time for your audio we have all this. We also have the Audacity, the Ardor 7. We also have the controllers right here for your equalizer, mixer, and all those stuff for your audio. And for your graphics, we have 3D LUT, Blender at the same time for your 3D modeling, which is of course our Shrek the Third was made through Blender. Let me see. Oh yeah, we also have the Avatar at the same time. So the list goes on for your Blender 3D animation. We have the dark table for your dark room. Display calc for your display calibration. Of course, we have the Gwen view for your KDE image viewer. And we also have the Inkscape for your vector graphics and a lot more. So you have all those stuff needed right here for your graphics production. And let's go to our video editing or your video production. So we have the video production right here. We have a lot right here, from the calibration, from your videos, and at the same time your video creators for your CD or DVD. You also have the Caden Live, OBS, OpenPL. We also have the subtitle editor. Wow, we have the subtitle editor already pre-installed right here. And for the, as I said before, Git or GIT is a Linux pioneer. Let the ambulance pass. So if you want to create your software and you have this as a developer pre-installed into your Ubuntu Studio 23.04, your Git Cola and Git DAG. So Git is a free and open source software source code. And at the same time, we also have the internet right here. We have the Thunderbird for your mail client, and at the same time your KDE connects with your cell phone to gain access to your Android Linux. So how about the media playback? The media playback, we have of course the very popular VLC media player, which is very popular even in Windows and Mac. Well, VLC is one of the best video player or media player that we have. That is why it is very important to support your developers, to support them to help you have the very powerful player or very powerful application that you are needed to your works. We also have the Office right here, the LibreOffice, very popular for this one. We have the LibreOffice, the LibreMath, Impress, Draw, and Calc, and at the same time Writer. So Writer is the word processor, the formulas editor is the math, the Impress is for the slideshow presentation, the Draw is the drawing program, which is the publisher. We have the Calc, which is our spreadsheets. And of course, we have the Ocular for the PDF or the portable document file. For your math, we only have the LibreMath for your formula editor. We have the settings right here. The settings involves with our additional drivers. If there is some third party, if you have some proprietary hardware installed into your computer, you have this to help you, guide you into installing the proprietary driver. And we also have the pulse audio volume control, software source, system settings. In the settings system, we have the KDE partition manager. I like the KDE partition manager compared to the GNU partition manager. I think it is much better to use this one compared to the GNU partition manager. Really like this one, the KDE partition manager. We have the console with the letter K, the discovery, which is our software center. We're gonna take a look into that later. We have the K wallet manager, menu editor. Of course, if you are changing your application right here, you need that one for your system. Where am I right now? See? We also have the package managers right here. Report a problem if you have some debugging and report a malfunction to the developer that is reporting them what you have experienced, which is sometimes it has a bug. So especially if you are running different types of computers, like different types of manufacturers running to your Linux software source, start up this creator, which is the bootable. I think, yeah, this is the bootable USB creator, the system monitor, and the Ubuntu Studio installer. How about the utilities? We have the art for the archiving tool, emojis selector, Kate for the text editor, Kwrite for our another text editor, and spectacle for your screenshots. How about this one? Okay. Ask Ubuntu if you need support. So if you need support, just ask Ubuntu for your bugs reports, and they will help you. And at the same time, we contribute to Ubuntu Studio by reading out and testing. Ubuntu Cafe at the same time for non-support, and Ubuntu Studio Help is for your helping find a help, do it by yourself. And Ubuntu Studio mailing lists, so you have the opportunity, and the support chat you are obliged to. This is absolutely for free. Just support your developers. Ubuntu Studio website, which is we already had. So that is our Ubuntu Studio 23.04 default application pre-installed into your Ubuntu Studio 23.04. So conclusion, well, it is a little bit like really good for focusing only for your editing, from your audio to video to your pictures. And for me, because I'm an educator at the same time, I'm also teaching at school and editing some audio and video and pictures, which is, yes, I could use this one. I'll install this one as one of the separate OS to be useful for my editing, for my videos and my pictures. For the newcomers, yes, this is definitely for you guys. If you are really inclined into editing videos, inclined into editing pictures, and at the same time for your graphic designing, this is one of the best OS you could have. And please support your developers at the same time. For the lead developers for this 2OS, the wife is for Ed Ubuntu, and the Ubuntu Studio 23.04 is the husband. Well, this is gonna be an awesome 2 in a row. So please help them at the same time. I give my help at the same time for the community, and I'll be continue helping this to open to our viewers, to my students who wants to install alongside with their existing operating system, not to delete their existing operating system, but to coexist with each other. So this will be the best Ubuntu Studio 23.04. So that's it for now for our OS operating system, Ubuntu Studio 23.04. I'm Blair, saying bye for now and see you in the next episode. And remember that science means knowing. That is why science is cool. Ciao. Now let's close this one. Oh, by the way, what's this? Oh, okay. So this is the status and notification. Oh, I didn't share this one. Sorry guys. I'm so obsessed with this one. Huh. So shut down.